Hey, welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and a happy Sunday night to everybody who is tuning in. Or whenever you're checking this out. If you could subscribe, that'd be great. Hit that like button, comment. You guys hit the notification bell. You guys get notified every time we put up a new video. We'll be live tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Tobin and Leroy show on the 560 WQAM and YouTube page and Twitch page. Shout out to all my Twitchers out there. And, yeah, man, let's get to it. So, the big news so far tonight, we, of course, are getting to Game 7, but thus far, as I record this at about 8:30, we just went final. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals between the Indiana Pacers and Cleveland Cavaliers. Pacers hang the first loss of the postseason on the Cleveland Cavaliers. They win 121 to 112, so apparently the Cleveland Cavaliers are beatable. Incredible game from three today, though, from the Indiana Pacers. 19 of 36 from downtown today. Wow. They had a tremendous shooting night in Cleveland's building to open up this series. You did get a great performance from Donovan Mitchell today and Evan Mobley. Jared Allen, though, turns out not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, not Wilt Chamberlain. So do with that what you will. And I actually, this is going to blend into what I wanted to talk about tonight, because I referenced this in the other video talking about the nutty Lakers fans wanting Bam Adebayo. But this, in a way, does relate into what I wanted to discuss. But, like, yeah, when you see a team that beat you by a historic margin feel like they just got welcomed to the playoffs, you know, it is a little bit of, I don't even know if the word is humbling. I know the Heat used that word, that it's humbling, but I guess you can see the vast difference even from a 50-win Pacers team and a Miami Heat team that ended up being 10th in the Eastern Conference. So, look, Indiana, I think that everybody who's here in these top four, these are the deserving playoff teams. None of them are surprising. I still think Cleveland can certainly get back in this series. They didn't have Garland, which is interesting. You know, it's funny. Don't know if talked about Kyle Anderson basically coming out, and I don't know if he was sticking up for Tyler Hero or he was genuine, but he basically said that the team that the Heat faced was better without Darius Garland. Well, not that 112 points is awful, but the Cavaliers definitely got to be soul searching a little bit. Although I think a lot of it's going to be like, Jesus, I mean, that's an insane shooting night, which it is. That is an insane shooting night on the road, especially tonight. They got Nembhard giving them 5, Nesmith 4, 3 from Mathurin, like all their role guys, good players, but like not even their A's gave them the biggest nights tonight. So you steal a game like that still is huge because they now get to have the home court advantage. But I wanted to get into this one because clearly the interesting thing that you took away from the Cavaliers series, amongst many, was the play of Kel'el Ware. And Kel'el Ware, I would say for me, was bar none my favorite part of the season. I still think about myself. You know, I think I did a game recap for basically every game. I don't know if I went 82 for 82, but I was damn near. I must have been like 80 for 82. And I might have gone 82 for 82. You guys can go check that. But I was definitely going to miss that Spurs game. It was my son's 9th birthday, and we were at Legoland, and we were sitting by the Lego pool. He was having time of his life, just building Lego boats. Like, they have these Legos you can build, and I was just watching Kel'el Ware just give the business to Victor Wembanyama. Great matchup back and forth. And I was like, and it was right after he had lost 3 straight. I'm like, I think I got to go recap this. So I basically just did that one, handheld camera up against the window and recapped it. And I was like, it was one of my favorite games of the season. I love what Kel'el Ware brought to the table this year. I thought that, and then that game, 25 points which I believe was his season high. I believe that was his season high this year. He was so much fun to watch. And I remember talking about in that game, one of the differences between, I think, even him or Jaime or Nico or he was just like, this guy is just athletically eye-popping. He really just, like, he jumped off the screen and you were just like, you were dazzled by it. Quick look. He had 25 also against the Pacers, but I think they got smoked in the game, so I don't know. Like, that was a big game because then, like, from that point after that game when he had 25 and 8 against the Spurs, he started starting. So it was a big one. But he had like 3 straight games of 20 plus and then a 19, and that was the brief like week where he was favored. I should have cashed out on the Rookie of the Year, in fairness. But I bring up Kel'el because I'm a big fan of Kel'el. Everybody knows that. Think the kid, it was tough. A tough lesson that he took in the playoffs for sure. But I definitely think that most of it was physical. I think that the kid just looked like he one of the things that you wanted to know going into this Cavs series would be like, all right, is this guy ready? And he wasn't. He wasn't ready. And not that anybody else played fantastic. I'm not hanging the series on Ware by any means. But you got to see, all right, there's a level to this. There's a growth that has to come from this. And, he was asked on his exit media day, and he was talked about like what has to improve for him. And he made this point multiple times on 2 different questions. When asked about the number one thing that he wants to work on, he said get stronger. When he asked about the biggest thing he had to adjust to in the NBA, a lot of guys say speed. He said strength. And I'm excited about that because I think that's going to be a natural thing for him. I think that the Heat have you've seen what they've done with Nikola Jovic. That they have a very good program to get these guys in the kind of physical shape they need to be in. And I think that they'll do it in the right way to where he's not losing his fluidity and his elusiveness and his ability to fly around. But I think that they can, he's going to grow up a little bit with his body, and I think that that's going to be really, really exciting to see. And I think as far as a prospect is concerned, like, look, the Heat, if they're going to any trade that they're going to be talking into, we talked about Nico and Jaime or whatever I don't care what this kid, how bad he looked in the playoffs. Everybody around the league wants an athletic 7-footer who can block shots and who has the lob threat ability. He was one of the biggest, if not the best, lob threat in the league this year, and that's really without a point guard. I think he lead the league in alley-oops this year. He was something, man. He was really, really something to catch, and the Heat really need to make a point of this team being able to get him the basketball in those comfort zones, because Cleveland took Miami out of that in a big way, and it always just felt like it ended up with the ball in his hands. And like, look, the 3-point shot definitely fell off the face of the earth. He's got a pretty shot. It does take him. It's not like a quick release. It's kind of just like this graceful thing, but he obviously could shoot over everybody. He's shown a capability of it. He's got like this pretty slow-mo rotation on it. Not slow-mo the player, like it literally slow-motion rotation on it. I don't think that's something that's lost on him. So I think he's going to be a capable shooter. He's probably going to make all-rookie team, one of the all-rookie teams, even though he said he doesn't care about that, which I also love. I love that it's not like a big thing that he cares about. But but Bam, I thought, had the best stuff on him, which was basically saying that he was begging Eric Spoelstra to play him all year.
I seen a kid that, Spo didn't play in the beginning. He was begging him to play because we felt like he was a talent to, at some point he got his chance and he impacted win. So I'm proud of him. Obviously, he's gonna keep developing. He's gonna keep growing. He's gonna keep wanting to be his best version of himself. And we expect him to do that. So, seeing what I've seen outside, not only out on that court, but also in the locker room, how he's a great teammate. He's willing to sacrifice for the betterment of the team. I think, like I said before, I think he can be a great player in this league. He can be one of the ones where we'll constantly be talking about every year of, he could be in the contention of DPOY, judging because, y'all have seen it. He'll, at some point, think a guy got a layup, and then it's 4 feet in the stands, 4 rows in the stands. So understanding that he does have a talent and he can showcase it.
I think it's exciting. First of all, I think it's cool that Bam gives him that kind of credence because how Bam has wanted that award for a while. Maybe it's almost like, you know what? Maybe he'll get it. He has the eye-popping blocks. He'll have the things that that show out for everybody. But even the switching stuff, like I think you saw some elements to that where, you think to the Celtics game where like he was out on Tatum on sometimes. Like he showed some ability to do that. He's really, really athletic. He's really, really long. The reaching, the awareness, all that stuff. Dude, it was so clear that the moment was a little bit too big for him and that the lights were a little bit too bright for him. It's okay. You know what? Because you want to know something? If he would have dominated or would have had big games against Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, I mean, who knows what kind of crazy things I would have been saying about this guy. I would have been saying like he's going to be right there with Alonzo friggin' Mourning as far as like rookies are supposed to do what he did. Especially rookie bigs are supposed to do what they did against one of the best front lines in the NBA. But I was, watching tonight with you have two of the best front courts in the league with Siakam and Turner and Allen and Mobley. This is gonna be the measuring stick of this duo. And I think the interesting thing is, Bam very clearly loves the idea that this guy is the center of the future. He loves getting to play that side. And I think for Bam, he's got to be now more willing to come with head of steam, gets the ball in those covers and put the head down and go, especially if Kel'el's going to, open up some space for him. Like there has to be that element that drives to Bam's game too. Like you can't just be, all right, you're not in the big man spot all the time there for those lobs and whatnot. So we saw the improvement on the 3-point shot. The other things now going to come with it. But I don't see this as anything but a beneficial partnership going forward. And as far as like dealing Kel'el Ware, dude, it has to be a knock your socks off player. Like even in the Durant sweepstakes, like I don't think you can get rid of this guy. Like and I feel like if the Durant thing is going to be anything with Miami, and I think he'll probably end up with Houston. I'm going to venture to guess he's going to end up with Houston. But if he did end up down here, like what makes it interesting would be KD, Bam, Kel'el all there. You're just like, damn, like that's a team with some size. Like that's an interesting looking team to add with Tyler. Whew, that's fun. That'd be interesting. And then of course you'll have 6-foot Davion Mitchell there just as a pit bull menace. So I agree. I think for Bam, I think that I'm glad that he put it out there to Spo that, they were begging Spo to play him. It was very clear that Spo was not as quick to do that. Spo, a lot of the times I do think Spo is the toughest one to convince. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think, like, look, I get on Spo. I'm critical of Spo and that stuff. There's nothing wrong with Spo wanting to have all of the ducks in a row before he's able to trust you all the way. But I'm glad that it eventually got here and that it didn't deter too much. There were still games I was very frustrated that he wouldn't let him play through things. But as it is, I know Spo is not the biggest fan of playing the youth, especially the youth size. And I thought even for him, it showed something that at least they got there by the end of it. So there was that.
Well, I was encouraged with the minutes that they had and the progress that they made, and you know, they found a way to complement each other and heighten each other's strengths. And this will be obviously a really important summer for Kel'el. This last 6-8 weeks was really important for him. Just the heightened pressure and expectations of us driving to get into the playoffs and the 2 play-in games, and then all the learning lessons, from these 4 games. I went back and looked at it yesterday. There's just not a lot of guys from this draft class, that played in the playoffs. And him and Pella got that experience and got it in a hard way. These are tough lessons, as they usually are in a playoff setting. If you're not advancing, it's usually a tough lesson. And I'm grateful that Kel'el was able to get all of these experiences and set up for a really important summer.
Yeah, I think all those things are fair. And yeah, there weren't a lot of rookies playing. I think if Jalen Wells didn't get hurt, there would have been a little bit, but especially at Kel'el's age, Edey obviously a much more experienced player. So, look, man, it's gonna be an interesting summer. I'm gonna be hyped. Like if there's gonna be for Goosey's material, like all Instagram, Twitter, TikToks, YouTubes of the Kryptonian and how he develops in the offseason, I am all for that. I am excited about that. I saw that Nico's already over with his team in Serbia. Or one of the Serbian pro teams. He's there, one of the teams that he played with. So excited about that too, because these are going to be this is going to be a very, very important summer for all of those guys. Jaime Jaquez, he was at F1, learning speed. I don't know, but it's an important summer for all the young guys.